So this was in 2020. This should just tell you a lot. Well, why God said that all will be deceived. So the group regarding the following picture was founded in 2016 and is called the Society of Catholic Scientists. Just tells you what you need to know right there. It really does. So you know what my biggest problem with all this is? This is my biggest problem. Is the Tower of Babel. You could really look at that as a science project. You really could. And what did God do? I don't think that God was worried that they would eventually make it, build their tower all the way up to heaven. I don't think that's what his concern was. I think his was concern, as it states pretty much, and I'm paraphrasing in the Bible, that if they are able to do this, just think of what they're able to do. Because if they won't just live their lives and learn to have a relationship with me and are just on their continued quest for proving this or proving that, and then they fudge things, and then they want to completely disregard God, and they don't know God because they don't have a relationship with him. And I don't just mean science. I mean many Catholic leaders, like the Pharisees. Yeah, because if you have the relationship, then you know that a lot of this is just stupid. But yet, Catholic or any of these different denominations of Christianity that want to say we can align with science, okay, then explain the Tower of Babel. I think that God was saying, stop this nonsense, live your life, have a relationship with me, and yes, there are things that you will find that will help you if you get sick, but live your life. Science we have been so manipulated in every way. I'm going to show how manipulated too. I'm going to show the facts of it. But this is just the blind leading the blind here. It is a myth that science and faith don't go together. Well, it depends on what faith you're talking about. I think there's a lot of faiths that, there's science itself is really a faith, isn't it? I think it's like a religion. Partly it comes from ignorance. Yes, ignorance from science and, the church leaders that go along with this. Partly it comes from ignorance of scientific history. The scientific revolution was made by people of faith, such as Kepler, Galileo, Pascal, Newton. Okay, yeah. So it may have started, could have, who knows, with all that's gone on. But here's the biggest thing, I guess, the Catholic priests and many others don't seem to understand is, in the name of science, the amount of torturous things that have taken place in so many different ways, and all the people that have been hurt, and yet, we're just supposed to disregard that, yet we really don't have anything to show for it. We don't. Children get 73 injections before puberty. Is that showing anything? And then yet we have more autoimmune and all these different neurological diseases, and oh no, we just continue to, science knows best. Yeah, okay. We should keep in mind the words of Pope Benedict the 16th, who said that when science and faith appear to contradict, we are misunderstanding one or both of them. No, you all are misunderstanding God. End of story. So this is science's biggest claim to fame. Yeah, DNA, how the secret of life was discovered 70 years ago. Yeah, letters and scientific articles by James Watson and Francis Crick tell the history of the double helix scientific breakthrough that defined the 20th century and credit the contributions of Rosalind Franklin and Maurice Wilkins. So I would just ask everyday people, like, how's the double helix helped you? Because just let me show you what has come out of that. Number one, the shape of things to come. Forever, this is what science does. Well, now that we know this, we're going to find out this. Now that we know this, we can get to this. But they never get there. Yeah, they never get there. It's sort of like what socialism does. It talks about this promised land. It's what the World Economic Forum and the the UN do. We're going to get there. Yeah, you don't seem to ever get there. I think it's because, you're kind of on the Tower of Babel path. So you can read, I'm not going to read each one. I'm just showing the two intertwining strands of DNA wrapped around a central axis to form a gently curving double helix. This instantly recognizable structure is one of the 20th century's most powerful icons. Okay, yeah. And what that done for you? Well, let's see. The gene explained. Then why do we have so many genome labs? For centuries, philosophers pondered inheritance and how one person can be an amalgam of two parents. Crackling the structure of DNA explained how the fundamental unit of inheritance, the gene, works, and how it is replicated from one cell to the next and one generation to the next. Now that they knew the molecular basis of the gene, scientists could understand how it can be damaged and why mutations can lead to harmful diseases or occasionally beneficial traits. Yeah, so how is that? Has that helped the world on some massive scale? Absolutely not. Again, we have more diseases, more viruses. Curing inherited diseases. And as you can see here, by understanding how a gene can go wrong, scientists can work out ways of putting it right. Oh. In 2002, Evans became the first child in Britain to be declared cured of an inherited disorder as a result of gene therapy, which involves repairing a defective gene by augmenting it with healthy versions. So basically messing with the DNA structure. Yeah, but this is one case you're hearing about. You'll hear about the one case and then you just forget about it and you think science has done so much. Predicting inherited diseases. Some disorders are caused by several genetic defects acting in unison. Cancer is the classic example. It is caused by a cascade of... So where is... but sometimes cancer can result from a defect in just one gene that runs in a family. Yeah, so again, there's nothing here except, this is... Your mind is supposed to go, this is so unbelievable. We have so much now. We have nothing except, again, more diseases, more viruses, more problems, more freedoms gone. And people still want to say the science. They're so knowledgeable. Onco mouse. In the 1980s, a genetically modified mouse with a cancer-causing gene became the first living creature to be caught up in the bitter row about the rights and wrongs of animal patenting. Onco mouse was important to science because it was genetically predetermined to develop cancer. Oh, how nice. And anything that delayed or prevented this destiny might be useful for anti-cancer treatment. So that was 1980s. Have we moved the dial at all in cancer? No. Again, is science knowledgeable? In my opinion, no, they're just up to no good. I'm not even going to read this one, feeding the world or not. Okay, so the first experiments with genetically modified crops. So they want, this is where your genetically modified meat is coming from and all the World Economic Forum ideas. Yeah, and yet we give the most money to the World Food Program at the UN, and it's still a problem. Yeah, again, the science is showing its own failures. Yeah, they look at this as unbelievable. Manufacturing death. An extreme example of genetic engineering is the deliberate manipulation of a deadly microbe to make it even more infectious or toxic to humans. Yes, it's called gain of function. Last year, scientists made a complete polio virus from scratch using standard laboratory equipment and DNA reagents ordered over the internet. The virus caused paralysis and death when injected into mice. And there are real fears that terrorists or the rogue state could manipulate the genes of more deadly agents. Yeah, well, so see, everything the science seems to do ends up causing the everyday people to suffer more. So I don't call that knowledge. The mega jab, a radical approach to immunization, is to inject raw DNA directly into patients. Tests are already underway to induce immunity to a range of infections. DNA vaccines could immunize people against a range of infections simultaneously with just one jab. How nice. Yeah, so again, why is it that we're calling these people experts or knowledgeable? Yeah, I'll follow this up with what God said.